Supergirl Season 3 finale battles lost and won. So it's been a heck of a ride since the mid-season premiere, and this was definitely a crazy way to end out Season 3. It's been super fun. Of course, we unfortunately lost Jean's father, who was like the voice actor for the original Martian Manhunter back in the Justice League cartoon days. So that was a sad moment. It's super emotional. Like this last, Supergirl always has like every couple episodes, it just gets like insanely emotional. But of course, they have the character go out and he actually melds with the planet to keep it from like cracking apart and stuff, which I thought was very cool. But I was like, man, it's an interesting way to do it. And of course, Jean, they're going through this experience of getting all the memories that his father had, but it was really cool. I really enjoyed that. So it sucked to see him go. Of course, we had like a crazy twist at the end where it's like, oh, well, I can't go to the future as Brainiac because Brainiac 5 can't go to the future because Brainiac exists now because the plague was stopped. So Brainiac comes along to wipe out all of AI except for himself, which is super crazy. I always thought the whole point of Brainiac 5 and all that stuff was that Brainiac eventually just naturally died. But that was crazy. It was like, yeah, so we saved everybody in the future, but Brainiac still exists, so now I can't go to the future. But when you should go to the future because the little, the tiny little thing he made where it's like, here's my little device. Basically, here's my idea for how my full body shield works, and it's just this little drawing where it's like that means nothing if you don't know what it means. And then it's like this artifact, basically, this little slip on a journal is an artifact now because it is the basis for a ton of future technology that has already saved millions of lives, which is insane. So Win is now going to be a part of the Legion of Superheroes. Mon-El has to go back, and Brainiac 5 has to stay in present day. So they're swapping characters out. I assume we won't see Win or Mon-El maybe for like the first half of the season, unless they do some super cool stuff and they go, into the future and we get some Legion of Superhero stuff, which I think would be sweet. Considering the series, they do a lot of stuff that Superman already did, and they just basically give it to Supergirl, which they're doing at the end as well, which is admittedly like the one thing I didn't like. And it was like, okay, a whole episode, super fun. Rain gets taken down. They do a whole, time loop deal where they end up having Kara's mom get killed and have Mon-El get killed. And I was like, they're gonna need a time machine for this, and they end up actually having one, of course. So everything works out fine. I was like, okay, that was cool, very intense, but definitely cool. Take out all the villains, everything kind of works out fine. And then we have Alina going into phase 2 with Miss Teschmacher. So I was like, all right, well, now they seem to be leaning towards her becoming a full-on villain, and it was like, I hate that. I like the fact that Lena Luthor is a good character. I like the fact that she has the intelligence of her, of her brother, but it's just like that's not my thing. Like I can make kryptonite, I can make this thing that helps keep this city floating light years away. Sure, I can do that stuff. I could kill you as a Kryptonian if I wanted to because I can make synthetic kryptonite, but I don't because I'm a good guy. And so now we have this weird concept where I guess she's gonna turn slowly into a villain, and now they're doing and it's funny because I don't know what the heck they're gonna call her, because basically they're doing the Supergirl equivalent of Superboy. I assume, I could be wrong, but they've done Bizarro already. They have their own version of Metallo, unless they're doing like the cyborg no, they already did Cyborg Superman too. um yeah, I don't know what they're gonna call it, because basically, at least what I'm assuming right now is that this version of Kara that showed up for whatever reason, like in Russia or whatever, I have to assume that she's half human, half Kryptonian, because that's what Superboy is. I could totally be wrong, but I'm like, I don't know what else to assume. And they give everything that Superman has already had to Supergirl in this series. They did the Bizarro, they did, the Superman thing. I don't know what the heck they could call her, unless they flat out said, this is Superwoman. I mean, I don't know what they could possibly call this character, because that's the whole point of Superboy being Superboy, is that Superman already exists. So here's Superboy, and then of course Supergirl exists because it's like, well, here's Superman, and then Kara was of course younger, so it was like that was like the whole point of them being boy and girl. So I don't know what they're gonna do with this clone, because that's how Superboy comes along. He's a half human, half Kryptonian clone, and now they're doing it with Supergirl. So I don't know what they're gonna call her, but it's the clone of Supergirl. Another clone, because I think this version of Bizarro was a clone. I think Bizarro was technically a clone too. So the secondary clone, a better version of a clone. So I don't know what they're gonna do with it. We'll see what happens. She just walks up. She's like in a robe, which I still wonder, like, well, where did that come from? Did they drop her? Did they just launch her over to see what would happen, how she would react? With no memories and just poof, turning up as Supergirl. Lots of questions as to what the heck is supposed to happen, but it definitely seems like that's a villain move where it's like, let's move into phase two, and now we can make Kryptonians, and that seems like what Lena was kind of doing, sort of villain style. So I don't know. I thought that was just a crazy moment. It was like, oh, that kind of sucks because it seems like they're making her slowly inching her towards being just another villain Luthor. So we'll see what ends up happening there. But that was like legitimately the one thing where I was like, oh, that kind of sucks. I don't really like that. But everything else I was fine with. Lots of twists here and there. Of course, Jean leaving, Alex taking over as director, which allows her to keep her job, but also do the family thing because she can stay at the base and she doesn't have to go out into the field and stuff like that if she doesn't want to. So she kind of gets the best of both worlds, and we'll see what happens with Jean. I was like, oh man, he's gone. Like I said, Wynn and Mon-El, they're going to the future. Brainiac is staying behind. I would assume Mon-El's wife went. I don't remember what happened with her. Honestly, like I know they had a scene where they talked about it, and that was the last time she showed up, which I thought was super weird, unless I missed the scene. But she was supposed to tell them about the future, and she didn't. And then it was like, okay, yeah, they kind of broke up or whatever. And then I was like, well, shouldn't we still see her like leave to the future, or did she just take off? Like I may have missed it, but I was like, she wasn't on the ship when Wynn was there. So I was like, what happened to her? Like they had their little conversation, and then she seemed like up and vanished. So I don't know if she actually left or what, but I just thought it was kind of funny. I was like, where did she go? What happened? But yeah, it was an interesting episode. I like the action to it. I would assume also with everything that kind of played out as far as like, oh, we have to save this very specific character who was half human, half Kryptonian, and is now, I guess, full Kryptonian. I don't know. Point is, Sam has superpowers, so it's like, well, is she gonna be there now? It's like, Supergirl and Sam, they team up and they're gonna be like saving National City all the time. So a lot of questions how that's gonna play out. Is she just gonna go back to being like, hey, I don't want to use my powers a lot. I'm just gonna, I got a daughter, so I'm not gonna do all that, risk and reward stuff, because we don't really know if her powers are gonna stay 100%. That could be the Superboy element with her character, where she sometimes can do everything, sometimes she can't. Technically, we only saw her run and I think like fight, and technically that was in like the alternate world as well. So we saw her run at super speeds. I would assume she could do everything else. But lots of questions. We'll see how that fleshes out, if they're gonna make her another hero, or just a lot of questions. What's gonna happen there? Of course, the other big hero-based news is that basically Guardian is revealed. Jimmy like gives himself up. It's like, hey, I'm the Guardian, and it's like, boom, that's the thing. Like Catco leader, the head of Catco right now. There it is, Jimmy Olsen, the Guardian. So I was like, all right, well, that's cool. It was not as insane as I expected it to be. It was admittedly just like, yeah, I'm the Guardian, and that was it. And then it was on the news, and I was like, wow, I can't believe he said that. I was really surprised that it ended up being like that, where it was super simple. But I was like, all right, let's see what happens. Let's see where that goes with this series, where so far this show has been like super light compared to like Arrow, for instance, as far as the vigilante thing. So I'm curious how they're gonna take that, especially with him outing himself. What's that gonna do? Like, how's that gonna change things up? They're gonna know that it's him. They're gonna, the normal stuff that comes with that is, oh, well, you stopped us from robbing this place, or you beat us up and imprisoned us. I just got out of jail. I know it's you. I know your name. I'll just find your house, and I'll find your friends' houses. And that's like the normal thing. That's why you always have a secret identity. So I hope they do a really good job with that, because I'm looking forward to the dangers of what happens when you reveal your identity. Like, can you be the same hero when people come at you, kind of, on your off hours, we'll say, when you're not being a hero? So I'm definitely looking forward to how they decide to kind of play around with that idea. But I thought it was a pretty good season. I definitely enjoyed how the second half played out. When making Alex's new suit, I thought that was super cool. Like, she has like all these crazy new bullets and stuff, and she can like magnetize the gun when it falls, and she can just do that. And like at the end, or during the fight in this episode, she clicks it and it has like kryptonite, imbued in the palm and stuff. And I was like, man, this suit is actually way cooler than I thought. I was like, cool, magnetic gun, and it shoots special bullets. And I was like, no, this thing is like intense. Like, you can do all sorts of crazy stuff. They just throw stuff in, like, sure, she can do that now. And it was like, that's super cool to see. So I was fine with it, but I was just like, man, that's crazy. So definitely like the way the season ended. I'm looking forward to where we're headed. This crazy Supergirl clone thing, what's going to happen as far as, Supergirl possibly having backup, especially with Guardian, being outed officially as Jimmy Olsen, so everyone knows how that's going to play out, what's going to happen with Brainy, staying behind in the past, how much of the season is actually going to be impacted by the characters leaving, when are they going to come back, Mon-El and when. So there's just a lot of questions. Are we going to see the future? I mean, you have Brainiac in there. It just makes me curious. Are they going to show it? Are they not going to show it? Lots of questions. And it's kind of funny that this season ends and it's like we just had the Krypton series, like Brainiac was the big villain there, and then it's like just as all that's said and done, and now Supergirl ends and Brainiac is coming into that series, so it's kind of funny. But definitely looking forward to where we're headed in the next season. They dropped a lot of seemingly good seeds for what they're going to do in season 4, so I'm looking forward to it. But of course, we'll love to know what you guys thought about this season finale and the season as a whole, so please put your comments down in the comment section below. Let me know your favorite parts about this episode, your least favorite parts about it. Definitely want to know your predictions and what you guys want to see going into the next season. What's going to happen with Jean, with him just kind of walking the earth? Is he going to basically be our introduction to other heroes, things like that? Lots of questions there, so I'm definitely looking forward to it, like I said. But definitely want to know what you guys thought about the finale and also the second half of this season as a whole. I think has actually been really good. I actually enjoyed this season as a whole. It might actually be my favorite season. Overall, I think they just did a really good job with Reign and kind of building up that mystery. And I mean, it wasn't that much of a mystery, but it was, there it is. And of course, the mid-season finale was actually great with Supergirl just getting completely destroyed, and then they have to go into the idea of how do we stop Reign but save Sam, and just back and forth with that. So I love the way it was handled, and I like the action. I like the way they had stuff, with Mon-El coming back. So I think they did a really good job this season introducing stuff, Legion of Superheroes, all that. But definitely enjoyed it myself. So definitely want to know what you guys thought about it. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for watching.